Hey, Heidi here, and we are full on in the paint party cow, and we are painting the Highlander, and I've named mine Pixie, so I'm excited to hear what you've named yours. And this, if you want the free tracer for this, just go to paintpartycow.com. But what we're going to do is our next step is all about shaggy hair, about making the hair look shaggy and whimsical and fun. So I'm going to go back to that honey brown that I used earlier today. The honey brown, it's a Deco Art Americana. You can use any kind of light brown that you want. And you can go between, I'm going to show you a couple of different brushes that you can use. So this one right here, and again, for those of you that are brand new to this, we are offering the free tracer for this Highlander cow at paintpartycow.com. So you can go grab the tracer for free and then follow along with this video. And if you want access, we have over 10 videos bringing this cow to life from start to finish. If you want access to all of them, you can get them for less than $1 a video. So $10, you get all videos that have this on here. So go ahead and go to paintpartycow.com, grab the tracer for free. And then if you want to get all the videos in your own kind of little library, so you can go back and watch them at any time. I'm teaching you each part of it, from layering the background to the eyes, the highlighting details, the goof ups, the blinging, everything. So very, very excited to share this with you today. Okay, so what I'm doing is with this honey brown, I'm taking a 1-inch brush, and all I'm doing is just kind of getting some very, very messy strokes here to make it look like hair. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is just kind of take the placements of where we had those before. Remember, we had this fun like little bangs. I don't know if a cow has bangs, but if it did, this would be the bangs. And we're just going to start adding this in. Now, if this brush feels too thick to you, you can go in with a smaller, maybe a liner brush or even a little bit bigger, and you can add in those strokes that way too. But what I want you to really think about is just adding those lines in and having fun. So if this feels too heavy and too big to work with, then you can easily go to a smaller brush. So kind of as you start to really feel how you paint in your style, you'll start to know which one you want to go with. So I'm using the big brush to get a lot of the placements. And then I'll go in with a smaller brush and add little stuff. All right, so as we're adding this, I want to go ahead and just have you take a big deep breath. The reason why is, depending on where you're at, maybe you've been painting this and you've been following along with me, I want you to have a moment where you can just exhale. Okay, so let's take a deep breath together and just exhale and just enjoy the process. So if you're teaching this at a paint party, you definitely want your customers to not be in a frantic, okay? So this painting right here, a lot of times when you're staring at it up close and you've been working on it, it can feel weird looking. I mean, I'm looking at mine right now, Piper, and it feels a little weird looking, but I know once I add all the details, it's going to start coming together. So we gotta keep going in there and just have it come together. But we can't have it come together if we don't start painting it. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit while we're adding this about fear of failure. So I just got off an interview. I was doing an interview for my friend Jackie. She started a podcast, and so she asked me to be a guest on there. And she is awesome. She's the owner of the Paint Bar, and she's really, really awesome. And she has she's really great at corporate events. Like, she hosts huge corporate events. Anyway, we were talking about how there's a lot of people that really struggle with taking action, and how one of how so many times, and I won't share a specific story she shared with me in confidence, but I will share a broader scope of, and I see this all the time with my own stuff, is people are nervous to just get started. People are nervous that they're going to fail. And it got me thinking, and we were talking about how many failures I have had. By doing, you are going to have failures. And, there's this time in our life where we decided that failure was not okay. And I don't know when that happened. maybe you've had an MLM business where it's like you've sold lipsticks before, or you've sold, nails, or you've sold oils. I used to sell essential oils. Maybe you've had something like that and you failed and you felt embarrassed by it, or you felt shame because you put this money out and then it didn't work. Well, here's the thing about a paint party business. You're going to fail. There's going to be times when you have a party and nobody shows up. I'm just going to tell you the end real quick, right? There's going to be times when that happens. And we're going to go to white now and just add some highlights on the white. And you can just follow along and do them exactly where I'm doing them if you want. But there's also going to be times if you don't try, there could be this whole creative world that you miss out on. So it reminds me of Annie Flint. So Annie's in Paint Party headquarters, and she is amazing. She was kind of like a wallflower. And so for those of you that don't know, Paint Party headquarters is where I teach you every month how to, not only give you paintings you can use, kind of like a substitute teacher, but every month where you can learn and grow. And so Annie, she was like a wallflower, which is totally fine. I respect however time frame it is for you. I just want to be there to help you. And she waited about a year. She was just learning. She was growing. She was, consuming a lot of information, but she wasn't taking action. Then about a year in, she finally did her first paint party, and she is so addicted. She is so awesome too, because not only is she doing paint parties, but she's doing them themed. So for example, if she had, she did a spring bike and she found a vintage spring bike so that she could bring it up there with a basket of flowers. So it was almost like a prop. So people could take pictures with their painting of a spring bike standing by a spring bike. And so I love how she's theming it, and she's having so much fun with it. She's doing a vintage truck. She found somebody. I'm telling you, when you ask, isn't it crazy how the world works? When you start to ask a question, you start to find answers, just like her asking a question. What if I could bring a truck? What if I could have a really cool vintage truck here? And guess what? Now she has a vintage truck that somebody's loaning her to use for this party that has to do with the vintage truck. So I want you to remember how a lot of times when we're seeking, we find. When we ask, we receive. That's biblical. You ask, you receive. There's so many, of course, in God, it has to be, again, I'm no Bible scholar, so I'm going to set that up right there, because I don't want you, saying, well, this is this, because I definitely am no Bible scholar. But there's many, instances where, we can seek knowledge, we can seek things, but we also still need to experience and try and make things happen, and Annie now is teaching a lot of parties, and she's having a lot of success because she got out of her way. She went from the learning phase, and that's what me and Jackie were talking about, is how people as entrepreneurs and creatives go from the learning phase to the actual doing phase. Because we can be stuck in the learning phase forever, right? And it's addicting. It can be addicting. Oh, I need to learn just this, just a little bit more. I need to research a little bit more. But if you just take action and know you're going to fail, and it's okay, it's a part of it, then it's going to calm you a little bit more. So I hope this helps you a little bit with knowing it's okay to fail. It's actually a huge part of success. I have way more failures than I do successes. Way more failures. I just don't, highlight those all the time because they were failures. And so I don't want to keep putting those out there. But all right. So if you're watching this, depending on where you're at, make sure you go to paintpartycal.com to download this tracer. Okay. So I want to add a little bit of a highlight. Just, we're going to add more highlights in an upcoming video, but I wanted to show you just a simple way to add a highlight here. But we're going to add more here in just a video coming up. Another fun thing you can do is if you feel like you wanted a little bit more of the dark color, the burnt sienna or whatever, you could even add in some of those. So this part, I caution you, and I tell you to tell your painters this. Maybe you say, hey, for the next, 5 minutes, we're going to add these strokes to our Pixie, my daughter's name, Piper, to our Piper, whatever our cow's name is, right? what I want you to do is be ready in your paint parties to caution people like, okay, we're going to spend 5 minutes, or we're going to spend till the end of this song, or we're going to spend till the end of 2 songs, whatever that looks like for you, so that they don't spend 45 minutes on this part. So you saw how fast that took. We're going to add some details, some black lining and stuff in a little bit, but that's the basic of it right there. So go ahead and just add your strokes, get your shaggy hair on there. Don't be too specific about it. Make sure you can always come back and add more. You just want to get it going so we can move to the next step. And then if you're, come across this video and you don't have the tracer yet, go to paintpartycal.com, grab the tracer so we can get you started right away. All right, and then if you want to buy all the videos so they're housed in a fun library for you so you can grab it and watch each one and learn about blending, highlighting, goof ups, blinging it, all of that fun stuff, go ahead and purchase that for $10. And then you can get all of it in a little library that will hold for you so you can grab it at your convenience. All right, I hope you enjoyed this one, and we're going to do eyes next. I'm going to teach you how to do eyes and the nose on the next video. So if you don't have it, go ahead and grab it, and I can't wait to share more.